Right, the first thing we're going to do is break down the brush. Now I'd recommend all beginners learn this when they get their first brushes, so you know what to do when you have a problem. You can strip the brush down. So this is the new Infinity Giraldez 2025. Take it out of the box, nice and simple. So that's the brush. Just going to do an easy strip down now. So we'll take the back off, unscrew the back, then we can remove this piece here, slide the needle out. Next piece is this piece here, unscrew this, slide the spring out, take the bar out here, lift the trigger out, unscrew the cup, slide the prong cap off, screw the air cap, and then slide the nozzle out like that. And that's your brush stripped down. We're now going to move on to understanding the parts, just so you get an idea of what the parts are. You've got the body of the brush. This is where you would connect your airline, just here. Inside this piece here, you've got your air valve. Centre part of the brush here, that's the back body of the brush, and this is the quick fix at the back. Got your titanium nozzle, and you have a PTFE white solvent proof washer on the end of the nozzle just here. You've got your cup with your cap to the top. Got your needle. Got the centre bar that goes inside the body. Got your sleeve to the back. This is for adjusting. Your internal spring that goes to the back of the body. You've got the chuck that holds the needle in place. Your trigger, which comes in two parts. You have your main trigger lever, and then you've got your X center, which is the brass half moon bar there. You've got your prong cap that goes to the front, and then you've got the air cap. Right, we're going to move on to some maintenance now. So we've shown you how you strip all the brush down, so you've got it all in parts. Now cleaning it, it's key to keep your brush clean, it really is, and maintain it. And put some lubrication in certain places. Now cleaning it, simple products using kitchen towel. We've got some cotton wool pads, Q-tips, cotton buds. We've got a small dental pipe cleaner. We've got some non-silicone grease, and we've got some airbrush cleaner. So the first thing I usually clean is the needle. Nice and easy way of cleaning the needle is cotton wool pad, drop a little bit of cleaner on, and then wrap the cotton wool pad around the needle, pinch it, and then just slide through, twisting the needle as you do it. You'll see the dirt that comes off. So give that a thorough clean. Just be really careful so you don't stab yourself with the needle. So that'll be your needle nice and clean. The next piece that I would clean would be the cup. Cotton wool pad again into the cup and just twist that round like that. Clean any dirt off and give the threads a wipe around here as well, because sometimes you can get a build up of paint around here. A little wipe around the threads and that will be your cup clean. Exterior of the cup, just give that a little bit of a wipe. That's that bit. Move on to the body. You're looking at the main places where the paint's going to be going. So the paint's going to go down in here and it's going to come out the front. I'd get a cotton wool Q-tip, bit of cleaner on the end, down into the body there and give it a clean like that, down in the bottom. And you can also go that way as well and just give that a clean in this side here. So a good clean there and there. That will be your body clean. Then you can just wipe the exterior down. Again, cotton wool pad, little bit of airbrush cleaner, give that a clean. I wouldn't soak this in thinners or anything like that, dropping it in a container of thinners. If you were going to soak it, I would soak it facing down like that. Just so this piece got soaked. None of this piece, just sort of nose down in a jar, just so it comes up to around about here. If you was going to soak it, if you really needed to give it a deep clean. But it's very unlikely you need to clean it like that. So just down there into that piece there. Next thing is the nozzle. Easiest thing with the nozzle is to get one of the miniature pipe cleaners, dental stick, down into the nozzle and just agitate any paint that's there with some cleaner on. Just keep doing that and then blow through. When you've cleaned that through like that, hold it up, blow down there, and that'll be your nozzle nice and clean. Next thing that you can clean, you can move on to the trigger. If you've got a build up of paint anywhere, just give this a wipe down on the brass part of the X center, round the bottom of the trigger, and you may have some paint on the top. You can give that a wipe down. Thinners, airbrush cleaner, absolutely fine on the trigger. So that's how you do that. Top part of your cup, your cap that goes to your cup, you'll probably get a build up of paint in here. So again, cotton bud in there, and you'll probably get a build up of paint around this lip here. So again, cotton bud, little bit of airbrush cleaner round here. Make sure this bit's clean round here, because sometimes if this gets congealed with paint, your lid can get a bit sticky on the top of the cup. So just give that a little wipe round there and a little clean in there. Make sure that hole in the top you can see through, because if that gets blocked and you've got this on the top of your cup, you're not going to get paint out your brush, because it's gravity fed. It needs the air to go down in there to help the flow of the paint as it comes out. So that would be the cap. But very unlikely you're going to get any paint on these parts at the back end of the brush. But if you do, just give it again, just give it a wipe down, bit of airbrush cleaner, and give this part a wipe like that. Back of the body, airbrush cleaner again, just give that a wipe down. Prong cap, you may get a build up on there if you're working with the prong cap on. Best place to look on the prong cap is the two prongs that come out the front of the brush. Left and the right side of the prongs on the inside. Just give that a little wipe with the cotton bud and you might get a bit of paint on there. Again, airbrush cleaner, not a problem. Your air cap. Now this has a rubber seal. You can see that there. A little black rubber wash around there. I wouldn't soak this in thinners or anything solvent that's strong, because it will just perish the black rubber away. Easiest way to clean this, airbrush cleaner on a cotton wool pad or kitchen towel, and you're wiping the front of this like that. You may have a little bit of build up of paint on the tip, just wipe that. You can also get your cotton bud, push inside and twist with a little bit of airbrush cleaner, mild airbrush cleaner, like that, and that will be your air cap clean. Spring you've not got to worry about, and the spring adjuster inside the body at the back, you're not going to worry about that, or this piece here. Unless you've got a bit of paint splattered over it, just give it a little wipe down. When it comes to the maintenance side of things, where you can put lubrication, you can put a bit on the needle here, little bit of grease on your fingers, pinch, and then just put a little bit of grease here, like that. You've not got to go right to the front, just around about there and just here. This will keep it nice and smooth going through the washer, the packing washer inside the body. This piece here, where the spring sits on, you can put lubrication along here, here. That's absolutely fine to put lubrication there and there, so that's that piece. On the trigger, to keep these running nice and smooth, put a little bit of lubrication either side of the X center. So a little piece there, flip your trigger over and do the same the opposite side here. And that'll keep that bar running nice and smooth when the trigger's moving backwards and forwards. Other places you can put a little bit here, on the threads there, and on that thread there. It'll just keep it nice and silky smooth when you put the back of the body on, and when you put your adjuster on for your tension just here. So that's the cleaning and maintenance covered. Right, reassembling the brush. Now, as I reassemble the brush now, I will put the lubrication in so you get to see it. So we're going to start off with the internal bar here, locate the spring onto the back. We're going to get some lubrication on this one. Just going to drop a little bit here, round on that bar there, and just wipe a bit down the spring. And then what you're going to do is you're going to slide this into the body here, like that. And then the next piece is this piece here. You get a little bit of lubrication on this piece. Round on there, and then round on that thread there. Like that. And then you screw that piece on there. Next piece we can put on is this piece here. So go for the shorter side here, goes to this part here. Just a couple of turns on like that. We can now move to the front of the brush, get the air cap, get the titanium nozzle, and that just locates in the front of the air cap like that. Go to the front of the brush, screw that on, just nip that up finger tight, and that's the front of the brush on. We can then move on to the trigger. Now, locating the trigger, pinch the red chuck at the back and pull back, and then just pinch in so you're holding it in place. Get your trigger, and your trigger will drop in like that, and that's your trigger in. Just show you that again. pinch and pull back and lock the trigger in like that. Can now move on to the needle. A little bit of lubrication on this bit, little bit on the needle, pinch and just work it to about there. This is where it'll be inside the cup, there. When you look down in the body, you'll see that part of the needle here, and this bit's going into the front of the brush where the air cap is and the nozzle. So you're pinching around out there, a little bit of lubrication, and then you can locate this into the brush. Slide that forward. When you reach the front, I usually put a finger on the back of the brush. You're not pushing in hard, just keep one finger lightly there, and then your other finger here and one here, and then tighten that up, nip that up, and that's your needle located. At this stage I put the prong cap on over the front. Get your cup, screw the cup on, put your cap on, and then you can move to the body at the back. Screw the body on, and that's the brush cleaned with a maintenance check, all lubricated up and ready to go. Right, we're going to move on to the features on this brush. We'll start off with one that I really like, is if you take the back of the brush off, where you've got your red chuck here that holds the needle, if you undo that, slide the needle out. These are self-locating. The actual hole here is bigger. On normal airbrushes this is really small, and when you go to locate the needle you can sometimes catch it and you can slightly dink the needle. These are like self-locating, so you can slide the needle in and you're not got to worry about catching it. So that's one of the features that's really good on this brush. Another feature is the internal bar here is longer, so it's giving it a lot more precision and it's a lot smoother on the backward movement here. On the actual trigger, if you look at the 2024 Infinity, the trigger slightly sits and angles this way, slightly angles that way. This one is a lot more straighter. It's a lot straighter design on the trigger. Another feature is the air cap. On the original Infinity 2024, these are plated, chrome plated. On the new ones, these are stainless steel. So the exit hole on these is a lot sharper. So you'll find you'll get better atomization with this brush, because you've got no plating build up round the exit hole where the needle comes through. So that's another feature on it. Another one is as well, is the actual shortness of the body. This is shorter than the new 2024 Infinity on the actual bodies. When you hold the brushes up, see the difference in the brushes in there when they're leveled up. Giraldez is a lot shorter, so this will take you closer. And they've also changed the angle on the cup, slightly more upright on this one. Kicks back a lot more on the Infinity, and it kicked back a lot more on the original Giraldez as well. So they're the features. You've got your quick fix feature as well at the back. What this will do is this will dial your trigger. You see how much the trigger moves back, and then when you pull back you get full trigger. So you can dial this in. You turn that there, clip it, and you can minimize the movement how much you want the paint to release just by doing that. Click it in, it'll set it to that amount of trigger for working sort of detail, and then if you wanted to go to full trigger again, you just unclip and you get full trigger. Dial it in a little bit more, clip it in, less movement, clip it out, full trigger. A little bit more, and you can really sort of dial it in. If you struggle to work the sort of trigger, you can use this to dial yourself in when you're painting. So that's the features. Right, we're moving on to cups and sketch caps. Going to give you a little talk through about them. Now the cup sizes that come with the new Giraldez, you get the mini cup, which is the latest edition on this, and on the Infinity 2024 you get that size cup. I find this one really nice to work with on this one. A little less paint, you get a little bit more visibility looking over the front of the brush. So you get the mini cup with it, and then you get the 2mm cup, which a lot of people are familiar with this one. That comes with a lid on the top, so you get that one. You can also, if you wanted to, you can get the bigger cup, which does go on. If you sit over the trigger, you'll struggle with the bigger cup on, but you can, if you wanted to buy a bigger cup, you can do. It does go on. You can still work with it if you want more paint. So that does work with this brush. So they're the cups. When it comes to the sketch caps, you get 3 that come with the brush. You get your prong cap. That comes on the brush as you get it out of the box. And then you get these 3 sketch caps, which are small, medium and large on these. And what these are good for is, when you place them on, they just clip over the front of the brush like that. If you're working say a model, this is a 3D print. Say if you're working a miniature, these are like distance gauges that you can use, where you can go up to the object, and you can literally, if you wanted to, you could place it where you wanted to spray to steady, and then you can just drop a little bit of paint in and just distance yourself from where you're spraying, like that. So you've got 3 sizes. You put the large one on, and that will just give you that little bit more distance if you was working on a 3D print or a miniature. Just gives you that little bit of guidance when you're spraying an object. Now what I found them useful for as well, if you're working on paper, these tips are rounded, they're rounded off, so you can put the tips to the paper and you can follow your line work like that and use the different sizes to bring the brush closer to the paper or further away. You can put them along a ruler. So if you've got a piece of artwork where you've got a straight line that you need doing, you can run the sketch cap along the edge of the ruler and spray, and you can get perfect lines with them. So they're really handy to have. They really are. Whether you're a miniature model painter, you're going to get use out of them, or if you're painting on paper, canvases, if you're doing custom painting, really handy for them straight lines when you just want to get a straight line in, or you want to just gauge a little bit better. That's the sketch caps. Right, we're moving on to running pressures and setups for your compressor. Now in that little screen to the left you can see a compressor, and I've done you a little diagram so it shows you where the airline goes, and it shows you the Airbrush airline fitments to your compressor, and I've got one here. So you've got that one that side, which is the 1/4 inch threaded one, that will go to your compressor, and then in that diagram you've got this side here, which is the 1/8 one. That can go directly to the brush. You would have to take this piece off, like that, and you could go straight to the brush that way if you wish. But because you get a connector piece on the brush, which is this piece, that comes on the brushes, you need to get one of these. Now this one's got an air regulator on it here, and this is a quick connect. That bit would clip in there, and then you would screw this piece to the bottom of that, and that's how you'd set the brush up, like that, and that would just unclip there and clip on. It's a lot easier on this sort of fitment, it's sort of faster than having that piece screwed to the body of the brush. So that's how you'd set your brush up, and in that little diagram that's how you'd set your air hose up to your compressor. Now air pressures on this, I've tested this at different air pressures. You can run this around anything from 30 psi right the way down to 10 around 8 psi. What you'll find with this brush is it atomizes a lot better than the others do. So if you're running thin paints, you can really dial the air down. If you're running thicker paints, you can still sort of bring that pressure down because it releases and atomizes the paint a lot better. So working around, I always ballpark it around 20-22 in the studio that I'm running with the paints that I'm using. So around there, anything around 25 and down, you'll be good. So that's your air pressures and setup covered. Right, we're moving on to the dreaded troubleshooting tips. I'm going to run through these with you. Now, if you've been painting for a while and the brush starts to spit, you're pulling back a lot on the trigger to try and get the paint out. First thing, flush the paint that you've got in the cup, flush it out, undo the back, pull the needle back, take the front of the brush off and clean here, like we did in the maintenance bit and the cleaning bit. Go straight to the front of the brush and clean the nozzle. It'll be a build-up of paint in here. So that's first port of call, straight to the front of the brush, nozzle out, give it a good clean, and then place that back on. If you get where you go up to your paper or whatever you're working on, your brush is assembled like that, you press down on the trigger and you instantly get paint coming out the brush without pulling back, go to the back of the brush, undo this piece here, and then reseat your needle. Slide your needle to the front, finger on the back, don't press hard, just place your finger there just to stop it moving, and then tighten this piece up again. It's more than likely that this is not tight, or you haven't slightly honed the needle into the front of the nozzle, and it's just letting a little bit of paint out, so when you press down the paint's coming out. So that will cover that piece. If you get the brush and you put paint in it, press down on the trigger and you start to get bubbles up in the cup, empty your paint out, wipe it out, go to the front of the brush and just nip this up here, because what it's doing is, if this is loose, if that's slightly loose, when you press on the trigger it'll bubble back. It's just pushing air back up into the brush and you get bubbles here. So just check the front of the brush, nip that up there like that. Another one, if you have had your brush in your hanger and it's tilted back with paint in it, and you've left your brush for a while, and then when you come to use your brush and you press your trigger, and your trigger goes down and sticks and doesn't pop back up, back of the brush, take the back off, take this piece, undo it, slide the needle out, pinch, clamp and pull back, lift the trigger out, get yourself a cotton bud, and just down in here, the cotton bud down, just give it a little clean. Down inside you'll see a little pin inside the body down here where the air valve, the air pin sort of does this. It moves like that. When you press down on the trigger, that's what releases the air. And when paint goes down in there, it sticks. It just makes the pin stick. It's just cotton bud down into there, give that a clean. Pull back and pinch. Pop your trigger back in and then let go there. That's your trigger in, and then relocate your needle on the back like that. Slide the back piece on, and that will cure that problem there. Most of the time when it comes to having problems, I guarantee it will be your paint consistency. You're not keeping the brush clean enough. You're sort of busying yourself. You're chucking loads of different paint in it. You're leaving it. You've got paint left in here. And the majority of the time it's the cleanliness of the brush on how well you clean it. You've not got to strip it to its bare bones every time you come to clean it. If you keep it in your hangers, pointing forwards like that. If you've got one of the H&S airbrush hangers like that, it instantly points the brush down, and that's how you need to have your brush, pointing down. If you do accidentally leave a bit of paint in it, just top your cups off with cleaner. Fill your cups up with cleaner if you're in a rush and you're going out. At least you've left a little bit of cleaner in there that will just keep that paint wetter so it doesn't dry up in the brush. But if you leave your brushes back like this, you're going to get problems with the sticky trigger, and you're just going to get problems all in here. So keep it nice and clean, keep your brushes like that. Right, we're on the final page. We're on to links. Now to the left of you on the screen, I'm going to pop some web addresses up, and these web addresses will be direct links in the video description. So just pop over to the video description and click on the links, and you can get across to these sites to get your airbrushing goodies. Now, first off, we've got H&S. If you're after the new Giraldez, that will be your first port of call, is to go there. Eventually, they will get stocked in the UK. So second port of call for it would be Everything Airbrush. They're UK based. They stock spares as well. So if you're after spares and you're in the UK, nip over to Everything Airbrush and they stock H&S spares. If you struggle to get something there, if they're out of stock, go straight over to H&S, like Germany, and they'll get them shipped out to you. The next link is going to be stick print paint, because I get a lot of comments coming across saying, oh, where can I get this and that? Now, if you're after my paint set, we've got the Dred FX Custom Skin. FW ink lineup is on stick print paint site. We've got System 3. We've got the Aquafine, do the Pro Mask, because you've seen me use the Pro Mask in the videos. Got that, the application tapes, fine lines, paint pens, cutting tools, cutting mats. There's a load of stuff on stick print paint. So they're sort of my go-to sites to get products in for the studio for making videos. So I hope you enjoyed today's video, guys. Drop your comments, tell me your thoughts, check out the links in the description, and I will see you in the next workshop manual. Cheers.